in grade school, I wrote a story about how the toucan got his colorful beak. Like I would just make things up. Yeah. And all my life I thought, well, I'd make up something. I would write fiction. And then of all things, I found what I was really called to do was use my observation skills to picture life as it really is, but with a greater appreciation for it.
Welcome to the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast, where we share new and different ways to practice gratitude that you might not have thought of before. Our guests come from many different and diverse backgrounds, and the one thing they all have in common is a passion for gratitude. I'm your host, Julie Boyer, and I'm an intuitive business and health coach, and I'm here to inspire you to choose to wake up with gratitude every single day. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the podcast, where today we are sharing another great gratitude interview with Deborah Hawkins. Deborah is the author of No Small Thing, a book of mindful meditations. This book also has a companion book, which is called Practice Gratitude and Transform Your Life. I have had a chance to read and work through these books myself, and I love Deborah's approach to gratitude. Deborah suffered through early childhood trauma, and this led her to a tendency towards depression in her adult life. Following a car accident, she decided she didn't want to live like this anymore and started a weekly gratitude writing practice. Since then, she's written over 500 blog posts. Deborah has great energy and a passion for finding gratitude in everyday moments. She encourages us to move away from transactional or list-based gratitude. And as you listen into the podcast, you'll also learn how to find your own gratitude themes and how gratitude can boost your confidence. Now, before we get into the podcast, I wanted to share with you something really exciting that's happening starting in the next couple of weeks. For the past 10 years, I've been running a program called the 30-Day Whole Body Detox. If you were around the podcast last year, you would have heard me talking about it. And I wanted to share some new and exciting things that are happening with this program. Now, first, the question you're probably asking yourself is, how are gratitude and gut health related? Well, I've done several webinars explaining the two being very connected. And if I can put it simply, when we take time to practice gratitude, it has a positive effect on so many of our bodily functions, including our digestion. Simply sitting down for a meal and pausing before eating can have a positive impact on our digestion. What you might not know about me is that I've been studying gut health and the microbiome for over a decade. And this year, I'm very excited to announce the upgrade to the 30-Day Whole Body Detox, and that is the 6-week gut reset. Perhaps you heard an episode earlier this year with my business partner, Kathy Skelcher, and I, when we talked about going away and doing some planning for the upcoming year and the programs that we wanted to share. Working with Kathy has allowed me to expand this program in ways that I'd never thought of before. So not only will you be supported with your gut health and digestion, with menu plans, recipes, and ways to nourish your body over the 6-week program, there will also be live yoga classes, live gratitude meditations with yours truly, and 5 different live workshops, as well as one-on-one and group coaching. If you're feeling like you're lacking vitality and energy, you're not getting the rest you need, and your digestion just doesn't feel great, I invite you to take a closer look to see if this program is right for you. You can check out all the details at 6weekgutreset.com. You can message me directly through that site, or if you find that the program aligns with where you are right now and you're looking for this kind of support, you can also register directly through the site. Our program starts on April 3rd, 2022. I would love to have you as a part of this incredible journey to really nourish your mind, body, and spirit, all while focusing on gut health for 6 weeks this spring. And now let's get into the episode with Deborah Hawkins. Hello and welcome to the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast. I'm your host, Julie Boyer, and today I'm welcoming Deborah Hawkins to the podcast. Hello, my friend.
Hi, Julie.
I'm so grateful to have you here, a partner in gratitude, a woman who lives gratitude in so many beautiful ways. She is a blogger, author, group facilitator, and coach. And she wrote The Best of No Small Things, Mindful Meditations, which I'm showing for those that are watching the video, while she was going through a depression. She also created the accompanying guide that goes with it, which is Practice Gratitude, Transform Your Life, which I have been going through myself. And Deborah developed her practice and the principles of intentional gratitude as she worked her way out of depression in her early 50s. She has written over 500 blog posts and now has a sense of empowerment and contentment in her life and guides others on how to do the same. So, Deborah, there's obviously a little bit of background to your story. I mentioned a little bit in the intro, but tell me a little bit about, your journey where you started this blogging journey.
Sure. It's pretty incredible thinking about what I'm trying to get known for, being about gratitude, because the early part of my life, I was feeling anything but grateful. I experienced trauma as a child, and this left me with depression, a tendency towards depression as I got older. So I didn't have satisfying relationships or a good career. And though I wasn't I was pretty intelligent, I didn't really feel sure of myself and feel worthy and deserving of the good things, I guess. And after a period of trying to start yet another job, I moved back to my hometown and promptly had a car accident and was working temp jobs again. And other things were not going right. And I just decided I can't go on like this. I wasn't suicidal, but I couldn't imagine living like this the rest of my life because I was so depressed. I was hopeless, basically. And I decided, well, I'll start from where I am. I'll start small. And I decided to write a short reflection that might be like 600 or 800 words, not very long, about like something from my everyday life that either made me aware that it brought convenience to my life, added joy or pleasure to my life, or added meaning to my life. And I started doing this, and immediately I felt a little bit better. And part of this, I suppose, was because I was a writer who wasn't writing. And this kind of gave me a focus to write, a purpose for writing. And I continued to do this. And then after I did this for a while, I realized that I tended to write about a handful of topics, or what I would call themes. And this awareness created an aha moment. I realized I had personal gratitude themes, and I suspected everybody has their own. That's, I think, one reason why I think gratitude is so powerful. Mm-hmm. It's a way to celebrate who you are as a person, because nobody has the same things that sparks gratitude in them. So my story, whatever comes, is kind of remarkable because it came from such a dark place.
Wow, there's a lot of powerful things you just shared in a very short introduction. So I have a few questions for you before we kind of dive deep into the gratitude part. So you mentioned being a writer. So you said that at the time of your life, you'd had a car accident, you're doing temp jobs. So where did the writing part come from? Is just, you were just a writer kind of all through your life? Did you have a practice of writing before?
I loved making up stories because, like I said, I suffered from certain traumas in childhood. And to some extent, making up stories was an outlet for me. It was a way to feel free. And I really enjoyed that. And I started writing things as a pretty young person. I would write things down. In high school, I I wrote a satire of Hamlet. I called it Gimlet. I did like lots of things. In grade school, I wrote a story about how the toucan got his colorful beak. Like I would just make things up. Yeah. And all my life I thought, well, I'd make up something. I would write fiction. And then of all things, I find what I was really called to do was use my observation skills to picture life as it really is, but with a greater appreciation for it.
The power of storytelling to take us out of traumatic times. It's really important. And, it's interesting how as a child, and as a young adult, maybe the storytelling took you to other places. But then you came back to the storytelling after a traumatic time as an adult, right? A car accident, that is not, something to be taken lightly. And you came back to your writing and you came back to the story, but in a totally different way that allowed you to connect with such a greater and wider audience as you grew this work. So when did you decide right away? I'm very curious. When you started writing, was it already on a blog or were you just writing for yourself?
No, I did them simultaneously. I've done different types of writing before, but for this little journal of my grateful experiences or grateful reflections, I started it as a blog because I was really sort of backwards. I wasn't keen on online things. I'm 65 years old. I didn't take to this very easily. And I thought, well, this would be a chance, an opportunity for me to maybe get an audience, which I couldn't necessarily do waiting for my big publishing break. And it was a chance to learn a little bit about how to operate in the wired world. So even though I'm still kind of resistant, I managed to post a blog, and I continue to do that almost every week for the last nearly 12 years.
Okay, so you're continuing to...
Yeah.
Wow. So I didn't realize. So you've definitely... it takes such discipline to do something on a weekly basis. I have a weekly gratitude love letter that I share every week. I've been sharing it now for 4, almost maybe 5 years, every single week. I've probably missed a couple of weeks here and there, but so I understand the challenge and the discipline it takes to post something every week. So I hadn't realized that this was still a practice that was continuing after you wrote your book, because you started writing your book in 2019.
Right. It published at the end of 2019, and early in the year is when I put it together. Okay. So most of the book was actually taken from blog posts. Yes. But then I wrote the guidebook separately, right?
Yeah, which is so great. So again, just on the video, I'm sharing the books, but so the Best of No Small Thing, that is a collection of your personal stories. Yes?
No, it's a collection of blog posts that were actually on the site between 2010, which is when I started the site, and when I published the book, when I closed the project. So it's 50 blogs that either people commented on. I really feel that they represented some important message.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I was wondering how you pick all from all those blog posts. So I really I enjoy too this idea of the thematic gratitude. And I just underlined something here from your book that goes back to what you're saying about gratitude being very individual. You say that the real power of gratitude is in understanding the value of a particular thing to you. For me, a gratitude habit is not just about doing an inventory exercise regularly. To me, gratitude requires a self-awareness and is a natural response to being conscious. Okay, let's talk about that for just a minute. So tell me a little bit more. Let's dive in here.
I think this is very important. So good for you to zero in on this. People send me articles all the time about how much gratitude is in the press or in different parts of our culture. Now it's showing up in the workplace or whatever. And I say to myself, well, people are still used to doing an inventory of things that they're happy about, which I think it's great in terms of awakening your mind to the fact that there's these things out there all the time that you could be grateful for, you could pay attention to. So I don't knock it from that standpoint. But I really feel that people are very limited if they think this is what gratitude is, because this approach of gratitude as a response to a happy outcome is very limiting. It gives all the power to circumstances. What if you didn't get a call from the guy you have a crush on, or you didn't get all green lights on your drive home from work? Would you not be able to be grateful? This approach really, I think, puts the emphasis on the wrong thing. So I think that gratitude at its most powerful is a self-directed orientation to life. So that if you know what you're grateful for, you could intentionally see those things in more circumstances that are just out there. That's what life is presenting to you.
And that's what I see when I read your blog post and your book, right? Is I see how you are really finding and searching out moments of gratitude in these different parts of your life and these stories you went through. One story, and if you don't remember it, I totally understand because you've written a lot of blog posts, but one that kind of stood out to me was when you talked about the Seder dinner that you went to. And how you were like, this isn't traditionally what I expected. So is that a story? Can you share that? Do you have a memory?
Sure.
Okay. Because that was really interesting.
I refer to myself as a Hindu.
Okay.
Which is like a Judist, because I was raised in a Reformed Jewish family, but we didn't practice things a lot. But I had friends who were Orthodox, and as a special invitation to me, they would have me join their Passover dinner, which was it's like getting dropped in Marrakesh or someplace really strange and foreign and exotic. This was not like anything I was accustomed to. So the word for Seder, it's a special holiday dinner, and the word means order. That this holiday dinner in the Jewish tradition is about following a certain order in the prayers, in the observances, how we deal with each other. And I was used to a certain order, and how they celebrated was totally out of the order that I was accustomed to, but it was also perfect order. It felt like the perfect order because it was what it was. And if you accept the world as it is, you could find the perfection in it.
That is really so critical. What you said is, you accepted the occasion as it was. You accepted that this lack of order that you had thought you were walking into, right? You had expectations and you turned it into appreciation, which I know sounds a bit trite, but it is, gratitude and appreciation are definitely connected. They're not quite the same, but you were able to look at it from It's interesting. I just reading your words when you shared that story, I really felt there with you and felt that I could see this occasion with those eyes of gratitude and appreciation for what was happening right in front of you. So that was very powerful. We'll be right back to the podcast in just a few short moments. My friends, I have a gift for you. I created a beautiful gratitude meditation that you can download directly to your phone. What I love about this gratitude meditation is that it's a great way to start your day. And I encourage you to turn your phone on airplane mode before you go to sleep. And the nice thing about having a meditation that's downloaded to your phone is that you don't need to turn your phone off airplane mode before you start your day with gratitude. So to access this gratitude meditation, please visit bit.ly/gratitude love letter. It's all one word, and gratitude, love, and letter are all capitalized. So that's bit.ly/gratitude love letter. As a bonus, I'll be sharing with you my weekly gratitude love letter into your inbox. It's something that will bring joy and happiness and, of course, gratitude to your inbox every single week. That way, you'll never miss another episode of the podcast. You'll hear about other podcasts and blogs and articles that I find interesting and want to share with you. And I also share some of my favorite photos that I've taken that week. So if we're not connected on social media, you'll get the best of Wake Up with Gratitude in your inbox as well. All right, friends, let's get back into this episode of the podcast. You know, you wrote this in your book, and again, this goes back to what you just said, is that gratitude is the most powerful as an attitude you bring to your experience. So you showed up in that experience looking for gratitude. So tell me a little bit about how someone who's not used to looking at gratitude in this way or practicing gratitude in this way, like, how do we show up? Because you said something really wise, which was a lot of our gratitude practices are based on what has happened to us and giving thanks for things that have already happened to us. So how do we then instead show up and in this way of gratitude?
Well, I think one thing is really expecting something to be able to find something to appreciate in everything. And that might seem like a big stretch, but if you practice this a little bit, you could, if you know what your gratitude things are.
Yeah.
The experience can get built where you, more often than not, can genuinely see things to appreciate in the moment. As an example, and I've used this before a little bit, when my personal themes is belonging, I really feel like incredibly grateful when I feel a sense of belonging. So that could be to a family, to a group of friends, to the family of man, whatever it is. So when I feel like I really belong in this situation, I feel really grateful. So I remember I was in a grocery store and I was really angry and impatient. I couldn't wait to check out, but there was a long line ahead of me. So I was just miserable. And I looked at the person ahead of me and the person ahead of them and the other lines, checkout lines, all along the front of the store. And we all looked at each other and we started smiling because we were all miserable, but we were in some ways happy if they were also motivated by this sense of belonging. So even though this was not a great circumstance, I found something that was genuinely important to me, something I could appreciate in this circumstance. So some people might not think about belonging as being really important to them, but I try to teach people how to get in touch with what their personal gratitude themes are. And once you know what your themes are, it becomes so much easier to spot that in your life in all sorts of circumstances. And I really think that a powerful idea is that gratitude is confidence boosting. People don't usually think of that as a benefit of gratitude. They think, well, it's good for sleep or good for relationships or good for resilience. But I think it's genuinely confidence boosting, because if you get into a habit and build a track record of being able to bring up your own mood yourself, you could go into any situation pretty confident that you could genuinely find something you might not like, but you could find something you can appreciate in all sorts of circumstances.
Yes, absolutely. I had not worded it like that, but I can see that, seen in my own life actually. And thanks for naming that, the gratitude that can help you be confident. And the lining up, like this is, we're in interesting times right now. We are in definitely challenging times. And I always say there's never been a more important time for gratitude. But right now, it really does feel like it is very easy to fall into a very negative place. It is a very difficult time, geopolitically, pandemic wise, like it's a lot. And this ability to approach a situation, and having this, like you said, the themes to fall back on and to look at, and where my gratitude theme can help me in this particular situation. I was thinking about that because with fuel prices increasing for our vehicles, the lineups, when you see, we have like one particular station near us, the gas station, that always has a bit of a better price. And whatever's listed on the billboard is always a little bit less, because they give you the member price without having a member card. So a lot of people want to go there, and it's like awkward to get into, and you can't turn the right way. But I focus on, gratitude. Maybe I have to wait a little longer, but I'm grateful that, I may be saving a couple of dollars by being here, even though I have to be a little bit extra patient to get in line, and it's tricky to get in and out of the gas station. I am looking for what in this situation that I'm grateful for. So you explain how to do, find your personal themes and everything really well in the book. But for those that haven't had a chance to pick up the book yet, can you share us just some ideas of where we would start to look for our own themes?
Sure. And this question does get asked: how does somebody get started to really think of gratitude as a regular part of their life? So I recommend to practice being in the moment.
Yeah.
Being mindful is the core of how I want to live, whether it's about gratitude or anything else. It's like being mindful helps me make decisions. I explain that if you're not getting what you want, you could either change. If you take a look at that, you could change your tactics, or you might find out that you could have to change what you think you want to actually reflect what you're doing. Because what you think you want is not necessarily supported by your actions. So when you're mindful, you could re-choose anything in any moment. And I think that's like so incredible to own that. And I really feel being mindful is a wonderful way to start practicing gratitude, because if you take out a few moments periodically during the day to say, what's happening now? How do I feel about this? What really is standing out for me? What do I want more of or less of? And that'll clue you in a lot to what you might be grateful for. And then you keep peeling away the onion, layers of onion, that if you identify what some of your core the core qualities that underlie a grateful experience, you could much better find that in other things. So the first step is to identify those qualities. And I think the best way is just by practicing mindfulness and practicing being in the moment.
So we're looking for our core qualities that make up our grateful moments. And we can start to find those by practicing being mindful, being in the moment. And I love what you said too about asking yourself, what do I want more of and what do I want less of? Also very good questions. I think developing any practice involves asking really good questions. And your guide, your Practice Gratitude, Transform Your Life, your book really does help. I'm working through it myself. I love learning new ways to practice gratitude because I know that my own gratitude journey, it's a journey. And, one of my core gratitude moments is this getting to know others, like this ability to connect and ask questions is something I'm most grateful for in my life. This podcast has brought me so much joy. And also what it does is it sets me up for like the rest of the day and just being in this moment of true gratitude for just learning from someone else and hearing their experiences and how gratitude has made such a difference in their own lives. So, Deborah, as we come to a close to our time together, I'd love for you to share some of the ways that you're clear about the way that you write and the way that you see things. Do you have specific, though, daily gratitude practices that you do that you would share with us?
I have a journaling practice that I call talking with God. And basically, I sit down and we have a conversation. And whether it's God or my higher self or whatever aspect of me that is not my conscious brain talking, it's really interesting. And it's pausing space for necessarily getting an answer quickly or filling in every space on the page, to give a little space to things to come up. And I think that's really has been very helpful for me. I've done this years ago, and then I abandoned this because I do so much kinds of writing.
Yeah.
And yet I felt compelled to bring this back into my life as a practice. The other things I do are also writing practices. I try to write at least, if not every day, a few times a week. I try to write 5 ways I want to acknowledge myself. I might write, I acknowledge myself for calling this person or trying to initiate a dialogue or whatever it is. And it could be simple. It could be about doing the laundry, but it's so easy to look at a to-do list and think of what was not completed. And I want to always come to life from the position of being worthy. And I think that's really important, to periodically acknowledge yourself for whatever, because even if things are not exactly as you want, that you're going in the right direction is really important. And feeling that, seeing the concrete evidence of that is a great motivator. So I write acknowledgments. I also write what I call encouragements. So I like to think of things that came up, little synchronicities that might have come up that makes me feel the universe is also helping me along.
Perfect. I love so many ideas. It's so wonderful. Different writing practices, different ways of connecting with God or source, whatever, people choose to. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. So Deborah, where is the best place for people to connect with you or to find you?
Thank you. I have 2 books, and you could find them on The Best of No Small Thing, Mindful Meditations, and Practice Gratitude, Transform Your Life. You could find them on Amazon or any online bookseller. They're not in the bookstores. So you could do that, or you could go to my blog and website, which is nosmallthing.net. So you could read my current blog. You could also see more about my books and click through from there. And also the courses and things I'm offering, doing on the side is all on my website as well.
Okay, perfect. Now I do have one last question about your books. So what's this, the significance, because you have River Rocks, one that's kind of like a heart. That's what your cover of your books are. So is there a specific reason why you chose this as your cover?
Yes, that's an interesting question. That's been the concept from the beginning of the book, or from the beginning of the blog, from this idea of no small thing. The idea of no small thing is there's a few things going on. One, I want to impress on people, like there's no such thing as a small miracle. Everything, it's either a miracle or it's not. And I feel that similarly about things to be grateful for. It doesn't matter if it's something big or something small. It still makes you feel grateful. And the only thing that matters is where you put your attention, not how big or small something is. So there's something about these stones that might seem insignificant, but they're not if you pay them attention. And so there's a lot of stones, and there's one heart-shaped stone. And that's a reminder that it starts feeling good, feeling connected, feeling heartful about things. Really starts by paying attention to something and noticing what you're feeling, what you feel strongest about. And there's wonderful miracles in everyday things, in a bunch of rocks or in the grocery store or whatever.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I was just really curious about that. So thank you again, Deborah. So wonderful to have you here on the podcast today. I truly appreciate you. And thank you for sharing your beautiful stories with our audience.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for sticking around till the end of the podcast. I appreciate you. If you're not already following us on your favorite app, make sure you click on the check or follow podcast so you'll be alerted every time there's a new podcast episode. If you enjoyed the episode and want to help us grow, here's some easy things that you can do. You can leave a review on your favorite app. You can share this podcast with a friend and send it directly. And you can also share through social media. Feel free to tag me on any posts in your stories and I'll repost. Thank you to Paul Tedeschini for doing the post-production audio for the podcast. And one last thing, I hope you're choosing to wake up with gratitude every single day.